Hey, this is Rob Woodrum, and I'm just giving a little quick rundown on how I go about doing one of my episodes of Rabbi Encounters. But what I do is I'll just kind of break down each of the various pages that I want to do in a very, very loose sketch, just kind of indicating where I'm going to be putting some of the lettering. But I don't work too far in advance. I find that working too far in advance actually inhibits my work. The stories are stories that are already known. I'm simply just trying to shed a new light on them. So I don't go too far in advance. I just kind of let it unfold as it goes. I keep all the earlier pages up on my desk. Let me back out just a little bit. I keep the early pages that I do up on my desk so that I have as a reference, so that if I'm trying to remember what this guy looks like, I can kind of look at it and see it again as I'm going along. I just pencil out my drawing right directly on the paper. It's very loose. When I started doing this, it was just a hobby. It still is just a hobby, and I can't spend a lot of time on it, so I don't measure. I don't on any of these lines here. I'm not using any kind of straight edge or anything like that. And I sort of like the way it ended up looking with the very loose framework and panel work that's going on in this. The pen that I use is the Mars Graphic 3000. It's a duo pen. One side has the regular little marker side, and that's of course what I use to do the panels with, and sometimes other little drawings. And then the majority of what I use is the brush side, the brush tip pen part of it. And then I just go in there and just lay it in. As you can see, my pencils are real loose. I don't do a strong pencil line. I just kind of like to feel my way through it with the pen. These pens are just great. They give a lot of distinct line weights, and they're just real easy to work with. I just really like them. I don't have a distinct spot for sure where I start. I know you're supposed to start in other places, but I just never know exactly where I like to start. I just kind of feel my way through, and whatever is striking my interest at the moment is what I usually go with. And of course, any good inker will tell you got to constantly rotate your drawing surface. So that's kind of how I go about inking, the inking process. And once I get that done, once the inking process is completed, then I take it over into the computer. Okay, after I've finished the inking, then I scan the drawing into Photoshop. I use a PC, and it's a laptop. It's a Dell XPS. And I also use a Wacom tablet. Don't know if you can see it, but it's the Wacom Intuos 3 that I use. There's several different ways you can do it. The simplest way for me is that I duplicate the layer, and I say OK, and then I change it from normal to multiply, which darkens up all my ink lines, and also then gives me a transparent foreground, and then I color on the background. What I do for that is I open up my last file. I always keep one of the pages nearby so that I can remember, so that I've got a template basically to work off of. So I've got all the colors that I use, and also the letters that I use for lettering. And a lot of times on these, I'll go into the background and I'll just shoot in color in the areas where I know I can, color it directly. Then I come back in with my brush tool. I used to play around a lot with the various brush sizes and textures on the back and stuff, but now I don't really mess with that. I just go in and the areas that I know that are going to be a solid color that I'm going to be messing with, I just go in and start kind of playing with. And as you can see, I don't put a lot of time or anything into it. I'm basically just drawing it, kind of making like loose brush strokes on it, like as if I was going to color the thing in with a paintbrush. It's the same similar kind of I didn't like that brush stroke, but a similar kind of process that you would use if you were going to color with a paintbrush. I don't take a lot of time with this. This is something that is supposed to be done as quickly as possible, because I don't have a lot of time to mess with it. So I want it to be able to be quick, and it has a certain charm to it as far as I'm concerned, the way it looks by doing this. Now in this spot here, I'm not crazy about the way his nose looks. I don't like his nose. It goes back too far, so I'm going to go back in, and I've already laid some white in there, and I'll just go in and kind of chip out a little bit more of his nose. It needed to come out just a touch more. Just like that. It's your world. It's your happy world. Whatever you want to do. To do the layering, to do the lettering, I take my layer, my top, I hide my background layer with the color on it. I take my top layer with the line drawing and I change the opacity down to 38% or so, somewhere in there, so that I can put it in there, put the letters in there without being distracted by the lines around it. And basically I just lay in the lettering. I lay in the lettering so that it fits in a pleasing way across the page. And then to make word balloons, it's a real quick little trick I learned somewhere from a tutorial online. But I just go in and I take my elliptical tool and I make the circle, and then I take the polygonal selection tool and I make basically a word balloon. And I don't know how well it's going to show up there, but I do this on a layer all on its own. Then I fill the word balloon with black all together. It's got to be on a layer underneath all the lettering. And then I go up to Select, Modify, Contract, and I contract the selection by 4 pixels, and then I change the color to white and I fill that in, and whammo, I got a nice word balloon. And I'm sure hopefully you were able to see how that looks. And then I just do that with all the rest of the lettering. Then I switch it over to a JPEG and upload it online, and voila, I have a Rabbi Encounters cartoon. So hope that's interesting. I always like looking at how other artists work, so just in case anybody's the least bit interested. There it is. Thanks for watching.